Hi everyone, I'm Enzo and welcome to our tutorial on how to make a terrarium. Now, terrariums have existed since the 1800s and were incredibly popular during the Victorian era. They were originally used to transport plant specimens all across the British Empire. Terrariums, in short, are a glass vessel which contains soil and plant matter which is growing in an environment different to that of its exterior, and they come in two main varieties: closed and open terrariums. Closed terrariums are sealed with a cork, a lid, or a window, and they do this to trap humidity as well as the heat from sunlight in order to create an environment which is very favourable for plant growth. In this closed system, water is constantly being cycled, first being taken up through the roots. It evaporates out through the leaves during transpiration and then condenses on the sides of the glass, where it can then trickle down and rejoin the soil to start all over again. This means they rarely need to be watered and only really need to be opened maybe at most once a week in order to let excess humidity escape, preventing the growth of algae and mold. Closed terrariums are best for housing tropical houseplants, which will benefit greatly from the humidity and warmth, which is reminiscent to their natural environment. Open terrariums will either lack a lid or have an opening on the walls of the glass. This allows fresh air to circulate through the terrarium and is generally better for plants which come from more temperate regions, as well as succulents, which can handle lower temperatures and prefer drier conditions. Open terrariums are also better for plants with higher light requirements, as the opening in the glass will allow for excess heat to dissipate. The composition of a terrarium consists of 5 main layers. Firstly, we will have the drainage layer, followed by charcoal, a barrier, the growing media, and finally the surface. A general rule of thumb to follow when building your terrarium is to have 1/3 filled space and then 2/3 empty space. This will provide the right atmospheric conditions and plenty of space for all your plants inside to grow. The drainage layer is made of porous media, such as small rocks, gravel, or sand, which allows excess water to pool at the bottom of the terrarium, away from the growing media, which prevents it from becoming waterlogged and causing root rot in your plants. Charcoal, or activated carbon, is sprinkled on top of the drainage layer and is a detoxifying agent used to prevent the growth of harmful bacteria and mold, keeping your terrarium fresh. Next comes the barrier layer. Typically this will be a fine mesh, such as a coffee filter. However, some people opt to use sphagnum moss. This layer stops the growing medium from trickling and mixing into the lower layers. Above this sits the growing medium, such as a standard potting soil mix. This can be enriched with perlite, orchid bark, or vermiculite to tailor to your plant's individual needs. Make sure the medium is pre-moistened before being inserted to your glass container. Finally, into the growing medium, we add our selection of plants, as well as any additional ornamental features, such as rocks, moss, sand, or grit. There are many plants which are suitable for closed terrariums. We recommend using low maintenance groups such as Hypoestes, Vitonia, Philodendrons, ferns, ivy, Syndapsus, Ficus, Tradescantia, Pilia, Peperomia, and Chimaedorea, among others. If your plants are bigger than you'd like for your terrarium, the warm, humid environment is perfect to promote the rooting of cuttings, so don't be afraid to cut your plants down to size. When building your layers, take your time and use items like skewers or extendable terrarium tools to keep them neat and tidy. For open terrariums, succulents such as kalanchoe, sedum, crassula, echeveria, as well as cacti are all suitable candidates. Once you're happy with your terrarium, give it a light spraying on the walls of the glass with some rainwater. This is to avoid lime scale. And then seal the opening if it's a closed terrarium. Place your new terrarium in a brightly lit spot away from direct sunlight and watch your new contained environment thrive. And there you have it. All the products that we use in this video can be found in all of the Tates of Sussex garden centres. So what are you waiting for? Happy terrariuming! See you next time. Bye now!